Imagine waking up one morning to find that millions of pounds have vanished into thin air. Sounds like the plot of a crazy heist movie, right? But here's the wild part. This actually happened in Northern Ireland in 1990, in what's known as the Stormont theft. The Stormont theft was a massive robbery that took place at the Stormont Parliament buildings in Belfast. Thieves made off with an estimated £26.5 million, which is equivalent to over £60 million today. To put that number into perspective, it's like stealing the entire budget of a small town. But here's the catch. The thieves didn't exactly break into a vault or crack a safe. Instead, they stole a bunch of government checks that were just chilling in a parliamentary office. It's like the ultimate inside job, where the thieves were basically given the keys to the kingdom. The heist was so brazen that it's a wonder it wasn't caught on camera. But the thieves were careful. They waited until the middle of the night, when the building was almost empty, and then snuck into the office to grab the checks. It's like they had a blueprint of the building and knew exactly what they were doing. The checks were meant to be used for various government projects, like building roads and schools. But instead, they ended up in the hands of the thieves, who quickly began to cash them in. It's like they were on a mission to spend as much money as possible, as fast as possible. One of the most surprising things about the Stormont theft is how easily the thieves were able to cash in the checks. They just walked into banks and other financial institutions, handed over the checks, and collected the cash. It's like they were withdrawing money from their own personal ATM. But here's the thing. The checks were all written out to specific government departments, so you'd think it would be hard to cash them in without raising some red flags. Not so. The thieves were able to convince the banks that the checks were legit, and they were handed over thousands of pounds in cash. It's like they had a magic wand that made the checks disappear. As the news of the theft began to spread, the police launched an investigation to track down the thieves. But it wasn't easy. The thieves had covered their tracks pretty well, and it was like trying to find a needle in a haystack. They had to sift through thousands of bank records and interview hundreds of people to find any leads. The police were able to recover some of the stolen money, but it was a tiny fraction of the total amount. The rest of it was spent on all sorts of things, from luxury cars to expensive jewelry. It's like the thieves were living the high life, at least for a little while. One of the most interesting things about the Stormont theft is that it's still not entirely clear who was behind it. There are all sorts of theories, from rogue government officials to organized crime groups. But the truth is, we may never know for sure who pulled off the heist. The Stormont theft was a wake-up call for the government, which realized that its security measures were woefully inadequate. They had to implement all sorts of new procedures to prevent something like this from happening again. It's like they were building a fortress to protect their money. The thieves were able to take advantage of a loophole in the system, which allowed them to cash in the checks without being detected. But the government was able to close that loophole, and now it's much harder for thieves to pull off something like this. It's like they sealed a hole in the wall that the thieves were using to climb in. The Stormont theft is still a bit of a mystery, even all these years later. But one thing is clear. It was a massive robbery that had huge consequences for the people of Northern Ireland. It's like a puzzle that's still missing a few pieces, but we can see the outline of the picture. The theft was so big that it made headlines around the world. People were amazed by the brazen nature of the robbery and the sheer amount of money that was stolen. It's like the whole world was watching, trying to figure out how something like this could happen. The Stormont theft was a major embarrassment for the government, which was already struggling to deal with the aftermath of the troubles. It was like a kick in the teeth, a reminder that even in the midst of peace, there were still plenty of problems to be solved. The theft also raised questions about the level of corruption within the government. Were there officials who were involved in the theft, or who turned a blind eye to it? It's like trying to find a rotten apple in a barrel. You're not sure where to look, but you know it's there somewhere. The investigation into the Stormont theft was one of the largest in Northern Irish history. It involved hundreds of police officers who worked around the clock to track down the thieves. It's like a giant game of chess, where the police were trying to outmaneuver the thieves at every turn. The police were able to recover some of the stolen money, but it was a long and difficult process. They had to follow a trail of clues that led them all over the country, from Belfast to Dublin. It's like trying to solve a treasure hunt, where the treasure is hidden in plain sight. The Stormont theft was a major blow to the people of Northern Ireland, who were already struggling to recover from the troubles. It was like a storm cloud had passed over the country, casting a shadow over everything. But even in the midst of darkness, there is always hope for a brighter future. The theft was a reminder that even in the most secure systems, there are always vulnerabilities that can be exploited. It's like a castle with a moat. You think it's impenetrable, but then you realize that the moat can be crossed with a little bit of effort. The Stormont theft was a wake-up call for governments around the world, which realized that they needed to take steps to protect themselves from similar robberies. It's like a fire alarm going off. You don't want to wait until the building is burning down to take action. The investigation into the Stormont theft was a complex and challenging process. The police had to sift through thousands of pieces of evidence, from bank records to eyewitness accounts. It's like trying to put together a jigsaw puzzle, where the pieces don't always fit perfectly. The Stormont theft is a reminder that crime can happen anywhere, at any time. It's like a lightning bolt that strikes out of the blue. You never know when or where it will happen. The theft was a major news story, with headlines screaming about the Great Stormont Robbery. It's like a movie title. You can't help but be drawn in by the drama and intrigue of it all. The Stormont theft was a defining moment in Northern Irish history, a reminder of the complexities and challenges of the region. It's like a chapter in a book. It's a small part of a much larger story, but it's an important one nonetheless. In the end, the Stormont theft was a sobering reminder of the importance of security and vigilance. It's like a warning sign on the side of the road. It's a reminder to be careful, to watch out for potential dangers that might be lurking around the corner. So there you have it, the story of the Stormont theft, one of the most infamous robberies in history. To sum it up, the Stormont theft was a massive robbery that happened in 1990 in Northern Ireland, where thieves stole millions of pounds worth of government checks. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating stories about money and history.